Hello, and thank you for joining us for Game 2 of the day, which has 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest Academy. The Thieves have had a rough start to the split, but they locked their playoff spot last night and extended their win streak to 8 games, Crumbs.
Unbelievable, and we have to attribute this to June 13th, which we will name BS and PS, which is before Someday and post Someday, because before him, the team was really just, And now the 8-win streak happened at PS, June 13. This is the definition of hard carry. It might be the hardest carry of all time in Academy. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, those stats are ridiculous. And today, Someday will face off against FlyQuest's newest member, Revenge.
And Revenge joined us last week, and unfortunately for him, he went 0-2, but it wasn't all his fault. I think that he had some pretty good plays, some good showings, and it was yesterday where they picked up a win against Echo Fox. Luckily for him and the rest of the squad, though, destiny is in their hands to make it to that coveted 6th playoff spot. Unfortunately, they don't have a lot of wiggle room, so they really have to try to get all of these wins, as you see 100 Thieves, Cloud9, and Clutch.
Yeah, some tough games in there, but if they win out, they can certainly sneak into that final spot. As we get rolling, though, let's look at the starting roster on the blue side. It is 100 Thieves Academy. In the top, it's Mr. Smurf himself. It is Someday. In the jungle and mid Soligo, bot and support Prismal and Stunt, and their coach, Kelsey Moser.
And loading up on the red side, it's FlyQuest Academy with Revenge in the top lane, Maxi in the jungle, Strompest in the mid, Airy and JJ on bot and support with their coach, Mango.
And certainly amazing, really, the journey that 100 Thieves have taken, both in Academy and in LCS. But in Academy, much like the main team, it's been a complete turnaround. And it's just ridiculous to watch Someday play these games. I think everyone knows how good of a player he is, certainly how good he can be. I think he had some hit or miss times in LCS, but when he was on, you could see just how dominant he was. He has just looked only dominant here in Academy.
Even in Academy, he often gives up first blood in a ridiculous fashion, too. It's like, oh, okay, I'll give you this one. Let's make it challenging for myself. I think that might be what his attitude is, just testing limits and then seeing how hard can he carry from the deficit that he puts himself in.
Yeah, it turns out not much of a deficit when you're that talented. And we'll see what happens here in the draft, because Lux and Karma already getting banned away. Kiana also continuing to get attention, so that one will be taken off the board as well.
And I have to imagine that FlyQuest will respect the Aatrox. Yes, Someday has been playing it a bunch. We'll take it notoriously as often as possible, and with good reason. It's still a great champion.
Yep, a lot of teams still like first picking that champion. It's pretty powerful. It doesn't really have any super bad matchups, so and a lot of the top lanes are very good at piloting it. So I like it here, just taking that away, moving some power out of his hands. And Sona also on the blue side here for 100 Thieves, so not wanting to play against it, but unwilling to pick it first here.
So Irelia is still available. This has been a champion that typically does not go through. And we just saw that Someday did hover it first of all, and with Sejuani being out, you don't have a lot of other priority picks. So instead, it's Azir that gets locked in. And who knows? It could be Someday playing Azir top, as we have already seen Broken Blade do so.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of top Azirs between LCS and Academy, I think, but also certainly a comfort champion for Soligo. So if they just want to take that for him, just a really good, solid first pick from 100 Thieves Academy, which I'm not happy about, but it's Azir, he's powerful. I get why people are playing it. Aurelia also still up. I think Revenge, certainly a good pilot on lots of these carries, but at least for now we'll take Jarvan and we'll see what they want for their second pick.
It's tricky to pick the Aurelia here for both of the teams, because if you're Revenge and you take Aurelia, you don't want to be put into a bad matchup where he knows you're up against him and then he gets to counter pick you. And then if you lock it into the mid lane, you're already in a really tricky position where you don't have a lot of wave clear, so you need to draft around that significantly, maybe prioritizing a Sivir, and then your entire comp falls apart. So I think that this pick might be a little bit relaxed this time around, to the point where it might just get not picked at all by either of these teams, because Someday would have to blind it and Revenge would have to actively take it as a counter pick, which is unlikely.
Yeah, again, I think just based on positioning, which I think is a good thing to point out, it's tough to take Aurelia here, and if you get to phase 2, it's probably going to get banned.
Right,
so.
Imagine if FlyQuest took Aurelia, right, first pick, and then you're up against Elise Renekton. Like, oh,
yeah,
boy.
exactly. Or at least Darius, right? There's just too many bad things that can potentially happen to you, so Arno will at least stay with a pretty aggressive track record here in Academy, and we'll take Elise. And I actually was about to say how much I like solo Xayah as a pick here alongside your jungler on red side, but 100 Thieves actually stole away the Rakan to kind of at least take that part out of it. I mean, solo Rakan, I think quite a bit worse than solo Xayah, but we'll see. Certainly can both be good champions if wielded correctly.
What we will see is no action.
No!
But a whole lot of action in the side lanes. Jarvan and Elise will make sure we get a good dose of
back
dives.
So
I'd rather, this is not bad. We have early
Okay.
game junglers at
That's
least,
true.
Spacer, because if it was with a Sidwami and Trundle,
Oh, God.
yeah, oh yeah, then we have some problems. But instead, we do have some early action, and I want to see what FlyQuest does with these bans, because the Elise has been locked in. I think the Renekton is really the obvious one. Irelia and Elise can work, but then you might be in a difficult situation if you're up against the Renekton Jarvan. That could be very problematic if they get the jump on you as well. So 100 Thieves has to be very careful with their bans here as well.
Prismal also going to lose two of the safer ADs he could play here. Sivir and Ezreal will be taken away in phase 2, and Morgana actually banned by 100 Thieves alongside Cannon, going to keep that out of Revenge's hands. A potentially decent blind pick here. I imagine though they're saving counter pick though for their top laner, so looking for a support most likely here for JJ to combine with the Xayah.
With Morgana banned, you have options like Nautilus that suddenly don't look that bad. You can just lock them in, and you're going to be fine.
Oh,
how did we forget? How did we forget?
All right, Yumi, there for FlyQuest Academy.
We dropped the ball.
Yeah.
The ball was rolling around, and we were talking about shooting. We didn't even realize it wasn't with us.
So Yumi is picked there for FlyQuest. Actually, nice to get it so late in the draft, but the Renekton you mentioned is actually already locked in, so Sunday clearly happy with that one, and we'll see how 100 Thieves want to finish off their comp here.
You know, last week, Cloud9 Academy, our #1 team, was vocal about literally forgetting Irelia.
That's true.
So for us to forget about Irelia or expecting teams to make mistakes based
Ooh!
on is possible. And wait a minute.
That's the Yasuo bot.
They are getting so fancy, and all of this with Someday in the top lane. That's great out of this team.
Yeah, interesting spot to draft Yasuo, but I'm curious to see how it works out. Not that many knockups to assist Yasuo, but enough CC to at least tornado a stationary target.
You've got a few good ones. Azir can be very powerful if he gets a good
That's true.
insect, and Rakan is your main one here, but he can always set himself up. The best Yasuo players don't care for the knockups. They say, I got it. I can do it all on my own.
Well, we'll see if Prismal is up to the challenge. Definitely a curious 2v2. I like that we split the lovers duo. We ended up with Yasuo and Yumi
Yeah.
as the pairings there. But last pick, Akali for Revenge, also very exciting. Not a counter pick I've seen often into Renekton, but Revenge clearly feeling confident because he took the matchup.
It's going to be really good against Renekton because of the Shroud. As long as he gets a safe Shroud, he won't get tower doped by Anda and Renekton, which is the big danger. Renekton gets in the minion wave, zones you off, big wave stacks, Elise comes, you get crash, you get dove, and you die. But with Shroud, you can at least prevent the tower dive, drop that aggro, and best of all, being melee and having that extra little bit of sustain and range on your Qs and autos does mean that she can positively trade against Renekton.
Yep, going Grasp as well, so very different style of champion in the top lane because the matchups tend to get a lot more different. But potentially very explosive as well, both Jarvan and Elise. Nice aggressive early game junglers. And in general, Anda has done a lot of understandable work just consistently coming up topside for Someday, although he's also good at getting his own leads. And certainly someone that always looks ahead to the Korean Pro Leagues and Korean Solo Queue. He was one of the first players in LCS when he was there to play Redemption Olaf. And kind of bring that over from Griffin, I believe, last year. So certainly someone that likes to play with talented Korean players and has a really good lane to camp for there in the top lane.
And it's not just LCK that we see teams respect now. A lot of them spend much of their time watching LPL. Recent history shows that they're a very strong region. If you haven't fully been caught up with international play, IG won last World. So making sure that you learn from the best is a very good way to get to the top.
Yeah, Weird held a team with 2 Pro Leagues, a Junior League under it, and like 10 times the play base of everyone else. Somehow breeding a lot of really talented players.
how many? Isn't it 28 servers that China has?
It's some absurd amount of servers.
And one.
Everyone else has one, by the way.
Devoted to
Diamond 1 Plus.
Diamond 1 Plus. Yep. How can you not possibly breed and grow the greatest talent?
And certainly has been the case, but back here in good old LACS, Soligo and Stromfest will not be seen again for too much longer because, thank you. This is actually a lane that's fun to watch here. Yeah, so a pretty potent bot laner, obviously, with the harassment power of Yuumi and Zaya's general individual strength. I imagine the early landing's not that fun, but can potentially take over once they do build a bit of strength, or if Anda does decide to visit bot lane.
He might, but I think he would want to prioritize the top lane more than anything else. This is definitely the lane to go to when you're the Elise. There was a time where Elise Renekton, when top laners would run Ignite, that there was legitimately no counterplay. There was no champion, no build, no rune setup, nothing that you could build to survive the all-in from Renekton and Elise. And now that Renekton's going to be able to burst down shields, it's not like it makes it any easier for these top lane champions.
Even so far on the top side, Revenge does have the lane pushing up, but here comes Someday, great stun. But Revenge does buffer out with the E to get a bit of extra damage in. Really important to get the grasp and the passive proc, and Revenge does do so to barely win that trade.
Revenge has a good advantage here carrying the grasp of the Undying, but if Someday gets to proc the Conqueror stacks, you'll see Revenge always backing up. You don't want to give him a chance to heal back up or hit you with that true damage. And now that the minion wave is starting to get built back up on Someday's side, and that just so happens to be perfectly timed for a possible game.
Becomes Prismal, start looking for the Ignite, does find it, wind wall up, exhaust burnt by JJ. So just a trade of summoner spells there by the supports and a flash burnt by Eri. So successful attempt there by 100 Thieves bot lane. Oh, that's a juicy wraparound, very close. The hitting that stun there onto Stromfest, who is struggling against the early lane pressure of Azir.
And the pings just came out, so Revenge should know that Elise is in the top side, so there shouldn't be any danger of a Elise power dive in the top side. You can see that Maxi now responds, and that would do well to get out of this jungle. And he does.
Barely missing the vision spot there onto Maxi, who does finish off the Raptor camp. Maxi with no other camps to grab right now is at least going to do a scan of the top half. Actually going up right now, maybe looking for a lane gank here for Revenge. Someday continuing to play aggressive. Again, really nice buffer of the Shuriken flip. Revenge goes back in. Into Shroud he goes. Order, that's a solo kill. Revenge just does it by himself.
We've seen this.
Someday! He keeps doing it!
This is Someday's strat. I refuse to believe that he is not thinking that he could die in these situations, because it just happens like every game. We got to get this stat of how often does Someday give solo first blood in manners that just are not very exciting. They're just trivial. A trivial trade results in first blood, and now he gets a much, much harder lane.
Yeah, Revenge just plays this so nicely. Waits it out, gets out from the damage, and then just clicks Q a bunch of times and kills him. And they're going to try and turn the tables. This one I've seen a lot.
Oh, this is
Does he have Shroud?
huge.
Flash stun, really nice. Oh, into the Shroud instantly. But Revenge needs to stay safe. Shuriken flips away. Here's Maxi with a knock-up. Revenge dancing back around, looks for the Q, can't grab it. Ulti would be critical here if he can get it, but I don't think he's that close, and Maxi will just keep them away. But nice job from the FlyQuest jungler to make sure that dive does not connect.
That was a really good Shroud by Revenge, but best of all, I think I'm starting to see what Someday's game plan here is. He's really not prioritizing the minion, or sorry, the champion. He's going after
Revenge is going crazy with the Shroud here. He's actually level 6 as well. Looking for the solo kill. He's not going to get it. He does get the auto, and actually it'll be a trade. A little unclean, but he'll still take it.
He's still down a huge amount of CS, though. 12 down, past the kills. So I wonder what the gold discrepancy really is in this lane. Now it's going to be Someday that gets to pick up most of the CS.
Yeah, kind of curious to see what happens. I think the way the waves were building, despite Revenge playing well in the trade, meant that Someday was just getting him off enough CS. So I imagine, despite the 2 kills to 1, Revenge maybe still a little behind, if not even, but let's watch this again. Revenge played this so well.
Going in, trying to get that damage. He waited out the damage reduction from the tree, the green tree from Renekton, so making sure that the entire damage suit would connect.
Yeah, I missed it the first time, but that was an attempt for ulti 1 to find a stun, which would have made that kill a lot cleaner. So just missing there, but still closing the distance, meant that he had to commit under the tower to get the kill, which he does do, but maybe wasn't going to be a trade if he didn't have to do that. Good quick shroud, though, as Someday gets some damage down, but Revenge able to thwart most of the damage in that stun by quickly buffering W.
So earlier, what I was saying when Someday died and then the dive happened, because Someday died, he gets to teleport right back into the lane, and Revenge chose not to recall right away. He instead tried to shove the wave out to get first the fight.
Nice Beyblade, but here's Maxi. Prismo going to be forced to dash away, but Stun able to connect onto him. Maxi doesn't get that knock-up, so they'll keep fighting. Wind wall down as well. Here's Ander, going to try and turn it back around with the Venomous Bite. Another great Q by Prismo, still dancing around. He dodges the next Q by Maxi. Stun flashes forward. He gets the foe shield back up on Prismo. Able to live as Revenge and Someday going at it once again. Revenge, so ready with the ulti, finds the first stun. Q is down. I think Someday maybe bit off a little too much here. No, Revenge doesn't have the damage. Needs to get out from under the ulti burn. And both top lane is going to walk away. No flashes. As Someday still built up a lot of fury. There's the first Q. Great shuriken flip, though. I think Someday's dead. E back in. Great stun, and Someday calls me a liar. Shuts down Revenge in the top lane.
He was able to buffer the stun mid-air on Revenge. That was him clicking Revenge as soon as he started flying back. So a really nice outplay out of him. And then the bottom lane, it's another outplay from an unusual part of 100 Thieves. This is them running a very different lane, and suddenly you have the jungler helping you out. What you thought was the Someday team, it turns out, is ready to fire on the bottom Yasuo play and execute really nicely. The sidestep was great, and the second that he actually got the Q shield, he knew that he was fine.
I like what Stunt tried there, but unfortunately mistimed it ever so slightly. I'll explain it after this, but Revenge, he did so well to get to this point, and I think maybe just thought W wasn't off cooldown when he went back in.
Yeah, so he had an opportunity here, but he was thinking that Someday might have the Q right back up, and it's hard to gauge because Someday itemized cooldown reduction early on. I think that's what made the difference in this fight. And notice here, he hits the stun right away, and bam, and he does that because he has a Kindle Gem. There's no cooldown reduction from Revenge right now, so when it comes to these base damage fights...
Oh my god, what a read! Straight in with the last breath, and see you later, Yuumi. Prismal just shutting it down here in bot lane.
That was really cool.
That was super sick.
It's gonna get really dangerous in the bottom lane because Yuumi is the champion that you want when you're ahead. You want to be hitting those Qs. You want to be running people down. You don't want to be hoping for every little bit of CS. So they get the level 6 right away.
Oh, interrupted it.
Catches. Oh, that is so unfortunate. He was unable to reattach after that.
Yeah, that's a change that was made a couple patches ago, but one I haven't seen in action like that. But yeah, JJ tries to dive in, gets clipped by the NATO, and it's lights out for Yuumi at that point. I didn't even get to talk about the fact that Stunt tried to Q and then flash the heal on to Prismal in that replay from before to try and make sure the Yasuo lived, but his shield kicked back in anyway, and it ended up not mattering as the action not stopping. But this has been a game of lots of little interactions really adding up, and clearly these players pretty well practiced on these champions.
It's really adding up in the top side as now Someday is growing a
that lead
really
is ridiculous.
Large lead, right? 40 CS, a big minion wave is stacking as well, and now you have the support and jungle contesting the Rift Herald. I don't think 100 Thieves is prepared to have Stunt roam around. Oh. One of the big dangers of running the you can't roam on your own. You need somebody to help you out. Prismal, can he 1v2?
Looking for it, does get the knockup, goes back in, looks for the airblade but can't quite nab it. Here's Strumpus though TPing back down, and that'll be an equalizer. Oh no, never mind, it's not his teammate, it's the enemy. There's the shutdown for the Corki. I thought it was a friend, but it absolutely was not.
He took their gold. That kill was definitely capable to, or was easily capable from JJ and Ari, but he just wanted to get on the board even though there's no action in the mid lane.
Nice charm, nice knockup. Revenge still in the shroud, but nailed by Anders CC. Revenge with a triple stun with PE1. Gonna now fly back over, pops the Arc. Here's Yuumi popping up, but Revenge will not die to ignite. Can they win the back end of the fight though? Someday dead to Maxi. There's the shutdown and now the next target. Eri with a lot of damage. TP the Yumi in and there's the shutdown. Over to the Xayah, a stunt. Popped by the missile, Arcane Comet procs, and they will keep chasing here. Zoomies pop, Maxi in, just missing that EQ, but the dunk follows in, and Jarvan gets the kill.
FlyQuest Academy now has the gold lead, and 100 Thieves was not able to get the tower dive on Revenge, who outplays it just like he did the first time. The Shroud was more than enough to get him saved. And I want to see... Whoa.
It never ends.
It really doesn't.
Someday TPing back in, Revenge can go this way. And there's no one cutting him off at the river, and there's even a blast plant to take out, so Revenge will escape this. No TP though means he may be forced to go back, but we'll see this replay again. Revenge just buying so much time here.
And a lot of it is actually dealing damage to 100 Thieves because they have to tank the tower while they go for this. He does a really nice job in staying alive just by a hair, which buys enough time for the rest of the team to collapse. That just shows to you why you pick Akali as the answer into the Renekton Elise matchup. It's something that we might get to see a little bit more until people find a different answer. Shen is somewhat viable as well because of the Twilight Shroud, that you can stop a few of the auto attacks, but if Elise gets going, then you're still gonna die. But it's all these abilities that truly hinder a tower dive that allow anybody to lane against Elise Renekton.
Gold lead though has swapped back over to the 100 Thieves side. As Rift Tail dropped by Ander means that Someday collected so many plates there in the top lane and the first tower gold for himself as well. So you can see that gold lead, little over 1,000 there for Someday right now. Revenge is in a pretty big hole as far as CS goes. And without the tower, things are a lot less safe for him to shove the lane up even further. Still, game is very close given all the action. We've had 12 kills in 13.5 minutes is a pace I am very happy with.
First brick on 100 Thieves side should mean that we're going to be going for a dragon fight at this stage. There's priority in mid, priority in bottom lane, and soon to be priority top that allows somebody to collapse if a fight is to break out.
I mean, we've seen Someday stick in lanes 1v1 for quite a while. Revenge not going to take this one back in, with the W being up and the Fury bar full. Knows he has to play with a lot more respect, especially without having a completed item versus Black Cleaver and a Hex Drinker already done for Someday. So all that room does mean that 100 Thieves should be able to take that Drake for themselves, but a 3-man collapse on a Someday, a Strumpist over with the Valkyrie, but that doesn't slow the enemy, so Someday will just walk away.
Yeah, that was a very
ambitious.
Yeah, ambitious gank. And also, interestingly enough, Someday is not rushing the Spear of Shojin. He's going for the Black Cleaver.
Maxi versus Under here. Good combo to start things off by the Elise. Rocket gonna miss as Someday rotates mid this time to help out Soligo. Demolish procs, able to deal a pretty significant amount of damage to this turret before just walking back towards the top lane as the wave moves back towards his turret. See if Strumpus can hold on, but really smart roam there for Someday just to do some damage and continue the activity on the map, especially given that their bot lane is still able to push despite the kills that Eri got, evening up the CS and the gold between the two bot laners. It does seem like Yasuo is still having the aggressive lead with the static shift done.
Yeah, the shift turns him into a Menace Sivir, in that you have to acknowledge that if you're by the minion wave, he's gonna be aggressive against you. He's gonna hit you with some poke, with some damage. So you have to respect it, and he clears faster than Xayah can, which makes him very annoying as a champion that can easily dictate. You see, just like that. You gotta back off, or else he's gonna cue the wave and you're gonna get hit with the damage without you being able to trade back.
Yeah, it's easy polish off of the wave there for Prismal, who is looking to back there with Stunt. Triforce also done there for Strumpist in mid, and Soligo does have Sorks plus Nashers, so with the Gunblade now finished for Revenge, it does feel like everyone's at least got their first major item. Yes, Someday's still ahead of Revenge, and I think that will continue for a lot of this game, but the total goal between the two teams still sitting at about 1,000 as Under back towards the top side is going to force Maxi out of the jungle. Really not a fun place to be right now with how strong the Elise and Renekton still are.
So that's a level 9 Elise versus a level 9 Maxi, but look at Maxi's itemization. He had a Negatron close when he got hit. Without an MR item, he's one-shot right there.
Revenge does force a flash out of Ander though, just has to commit the Gunblade active. But 100 Thieves, I think, thinking a little bit more total map right now as they will move into pressure mid lane, win wall down to prevent Eri from clearing out the wave and start looking for the engage. Doesn't find a good feather storm from Eri, also flash forced by Saligo, but honestly I think the damage is done as they do get the prize they wanted. They take down the turret in mid. And
now that they get to place their own tower, we're looking at a 5-mid situation. Not for long, thankfully.
Yeah, disc up there again, just a bit of space here for 100 Thieves as Saligo going to take it back, and the rest of the Thieves will move through to clear out the vision and kind of force FlyQuest even further back towards their base.
So for Thieves, the next big objective is the mountain dragon. 2 minutes from now, they will need that objective because it just turns their composition into a crazy early game.
This is not a fair fight. Stunned there by Someday. Here comes JJ though. Maxi gonna maybe try to think about turning it around. He got the blue buff, but here's JJ trying to zoomies him up. Does get the second heal there. Revenge also moving forward. Final tap to pop, but that's dead for Strompus, who tried to help out the rest of his team. Now Eri trapped is gonna fall down to Someday, and now Revenge with another good 3-man stun, but he's forced to flash out. He will use the second charge of the ulti to dash away, but Someday not done just yet. Good stun flasher onto Revenge. Gonna try and finish it off. Shuriken flip away, but not enough to escape the crocodile as Someday finally kills Revenge.
Saligo's just hoping he can get his hands in the middle of a fight. He hasn't been able to do much besides those 2 assists and continue to shove the wave. So he flashes aggressively, thinking he can get some sort of engage with the insect ultimate, but all that stemmed from FlyQuest being so crazily greedy for a blue buff that wasn't all that important after all. Maxi coming in, thinking, okay, I could probably tank Someday for a little bit. JJ is coming. But the second that the flag is committed to the combo, that's where I'm losing my mind, because Smite was available, so that was going to be a easily secure objective and then an easy way out with flash combo. Instead, you commit further, which forces the rest of the team to engage to try to bail him out, and then they all pay.
All the carries cut off, and a really nice flash from Someday to take out Revenge. Despite the Yuumi trying to heal things up, was not enough. 100 Thieves continue to find their foothold here in this game, and for something that was only 1,000 gold ahead a few moments ago, we're now up to 4,000 gold ahead for 100 Thieves. With a completed more for Someday, he is an absolute monster in the side lane.
Their power spikes are incredible at this point. You've got the completed Maw from Someday boosting that healing up even further, and the Oblivion Stone out of Anta. He's gonna one-shot a lot of carries with that red smite too. So there's a multitude of threats on 100 Thieves, and not a lot of people to engage upon. You don't really want to go on anyone. They can all turn on their head and combo one with the other.
Trying to fight for this mountain though. FlyQuest right now have some room around the Drake. Stunt gonna get slowed as Prismal pushes the wave back out though. FlyQuest gonna have to give up their control of this area.
All right, the Mountain Dragon is up, and this belongs to the Thieves.
I wonder if FlyQuest want to fight though. They were positioning like they did, but I think at this point realized that not really a mission they should go on. Revenge being pushed into the bottom side means that FlyQuest Academy will give it up and run towards the Baron just for some vision.
It really is a danger to not run a lot of crowd control. It makes it so much harder and changes the dynamic of how you approach anything from vision to team fighting to dealing with diving threats, because you just don't have a way to peel. There's only Jarvan. Only Jarvan is the combo. You've got JJ who can ult and root somebody, but to truly disable the Yasuo from continuing to dash around and around in a team fight, it's not going to happen. You can't stop any of the 100 Thieves damage, and this is something that I think is fundamental to League of Legends that we still don't see heavily prioritized in just having crowd control, because it's not that you need it because you just have to have it. It's that you stop the opponent from using 4 of their abilities and auto attacks from a set amount of time, and that can make a big difference in a team fight.
So now FlyQuest just going to have to hold on. Saligo has been elected to the side lane here. Eri and JJ looking to take their red buff, should be able to grab it. But Someday is just continuing to apply pressure. Shuriken flip does land, but even with Maxi here, not sure they really want this, but Revenge is going to give it a go. Pops the Gunblade there after that first stun lands, and here's Maxi, but they know they cannot face the Renekton.
Would you ever approach a Crocodile with a spear and feel confident?
Doesn't even have a spear, it's just a Maw and a Black Cleaver. Still more than enough to get them out of there. Good bend around the wind wall there from Eri, but Baron is dead because Maxi committed to that gank in bot lane. Ill-advised as Revenge TPs in to try and do something, but it does seem too late for the rest of FlyQuest Academy.
We knew that play was the following play after the Mountain Dragon 400 Thieves, so it is good to see that they execute on it so quickly, but FlyQuest looking for the consolation price. 5-man mid, luckily the Demolish will be able to do a significant chunk of damage to the turret, and they do trade something back.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to get to play for 3.5 minutes with Baron up, so a nice play for FlyQuest to get something while they are forced back to play defensively. Prismal are getting very deep, but no Tornado lands, so no CC happens.
I'll challenge that notion of only 3.5 minutes, because if 100 Thieves lands a solid engage here, this could be game over.
Oh, that's true. If the game ends, well, you don't get to play when the game's over either.
You get to play a new one.
That's true. You can play for less time if the game ends while the Baron is still on.
You know, I really hope that one day we can integrate some of the different scoring systems that a lot of games have. So I'm referring sailing in that you get, say, 10 races and you get to remove the worst one. You get to just say, you know what, I don't want this one on my record, and you get rid of it. So maybe we could start having
everyone gets a mulligan game?
right? A mulligan game.
Oh man, Prismal was a very fancy looking combo, but not enough to kill Stromfest in the last breath. We'll force him back though, which is good enough at this point, as Revenge is just trying to keep Sunday off the tower relatively unsuccessfully. Renekton was already too powerful. Now Sunday with the Baron up minions behind him. It's going to force Revenge away. A 2-level lead for Sunday and a continually mounting CS advantage. And this is the thing to me that's really sold how strong the Thieves will look with Sunday. Not just because Sunday has dominated opponents week in, week out, but he is so consistently a side lane bit of pressure that the decisions 100 Thieves have to make when he gets ahead are just so much easier.
He's teaching the Thieves how to side lane.
Soligo, though, maybe not learning his lesson. Maxi actually gets out from under the ulti, but with Stunt and Ander roaming up, he's going to have to walk back the wrong way as Someday trying to take down Revenge. Revenge will not retake that flip. Wants Prismal instead. Windwall goes up. Tornado misses Stromfest over there and is going to force the flash. Someday also getting poked down, but I don't know, even 1v4 if they can do it. They are going to try. Slice through a minion. Dice out to safety, and with Stunt and Soligo there, Someday will live.
Elise is still in the top side, and she does have Baron too, so 100 Thieves is still playing through 3 lanes.
That slowed his land, but Someday has his ulti and still has a stopwatch, so this chase may be a little too far. Eri going to try and keep the rest of 100 Thieves out of there, but it's kind of a 3v3 right now, although Someday going to roam back in and make it very different from that. Someday going to give Soligo that next kill. Maxi and Eri and JJ all forced away here. Prismal looking for that EQ flash, but doesn't quite land it. Eri though still running away, gets knocked up but not followed up on. Sorry, that's Maxi left for dead though, as JJ reattaches to Revenge to try and keep him alive. But at the end of the day, the FlyQuest Academy, they are trying to fight their way out of this corner, but 2 blocks in at this stage as Sunday has just done too much work with the rest of his side. As another kill will fall through, they'll take down the Nexus turrets, and 100 Thieves will continue the win streak. Going to be up to 9 games straight as they smash the FlyQuest Academy Nexus.
Unbelievable out of the entire team. I know we want to give so much credit to Someday, but the bottom lane played so well. The Yasuo Rakan, stealing the Rakan, then getting so many kills on their own. Some assistance from the jungle, of course, but still, the fact that it's not the Someday show when we know that it could be is such a positive sign for the Thieves, because it means they're all improving.
Yeah, it's been, again, the turnaround this team has made is insane to watch. And this is a team that at one point were maybe looking like they weren't even going to make playoffs. And if they did, they would make it pretty late. But they are challenging potentially for a bye at this point with how good their record has been.
Someday's so good in this team. You might as well just keep him on Academy nonstop, man. It is paradise for him. It's got to be.
Well, as you mentioned, we did see good stuff from the bot lane there as well. So we'll take a look now at Prismal, who's showing the Yasuo skills in bot lane. and with Sunday's kill top. We'll have that in a moment, though. I'll take it all back. We'll have a look at some of the moments, but here it is.
And this play is really made best with the junglers being involved, because the Jarvan does miss his entire combo. When Jarvan misses combo, he's not very useful, and Elise having red buff, having come from some action in the top lane, means she's going to be a lot more powerful in these fights, and she can ignore Yuumi pretty safely, hoping to give away the kill for the rest of the team. And we didn't get to see the precursor to this one, except that Sunday does a really good job in looking like he was about to go down. It's the Art of War classic. When you're strong, feign weakness, and when you're weak, feign strength.
Certainly looked like it, but again, a slight miscalculation, I think, from Avenge. He could see,
He saw it.
He could see another solo kill. He was like, I can do this twice.
Right?
This guy sucks.
Solo kill someday, twice, carry the game. Thank you for picking me, Akali.
Yeah.
I'm proving it.
I got news for you guys. Someday does not suck. This will take... Yeah, pretty insane. So we'll take a look at another replay in just a few short moments. As 100 Thieves, we'll take a look at their 3-0 team fight, as this team looking good in their lanes and together.
At FlyQuest being very greedy here, but you can see on the mini-map that the collapse from 100 Thieves is imminent, and that Sunday is just crazy strong at this point. Jarvan and Yuumi are not going to do anything to him, and it just buys more than enough time for everybody else to make it. And if Renekton was too tanky, they hadn't even looked at his damage, because he was way more damage than you typically see with the builds right now. He didn't even have Spear of Shojin. He went with the Black Cleaver, and the reason why I think he goes Black Cleaver is because against an Akali, you're never going to hit that many auto attacks. The Shroud is always going to interrupt all your plays, and so if you can just sit in the Shroud and continue to spam abilities, you can always guarantee that the Black Cleaver will actually stack and proc those passive stacks, so it makes more sense for the matchup.
Yeah, in shorter trades, definitely agree. Just a lot better in those situations. And as you kind of saw from the graph there, you mentioned Soligo was kind of having trouble getting to fights. Yeah, Sunday and he had equal damage, which is very impressive given how much damage Azir generally contributes to fights. But that game wasn't long enough for Soligo to really be needed.
No, well, that's usually the best game. It's like, oh, I got to get another win here, and I didn't have to do a whole lot.
All I did was push waves and watch my team win the game.
Holding it down.
Certainly, I can attest to liking those games as well. 2 games down, however, but we are just getting started. Coming up next, it is Optic Academy taking on TSM. Really nice buff from the Shuriken flip. Revenge goes back in. Into Shroud he goes. Oh, that's a solo kill. Revenge just does it by himself. Great Q by Prismo. Still dancing around. He dodges the next Q by Maxi. Stun flashes forward. He gets the voice shield back up on Prismo. One final tap to pop, but that's dead for Strumpus, who tried to help out the rest of his team. Now Airy trapped is going to fall down to Sunday.